Hi there, Jack here from Bridge Coffee Roasters, and today I'm with the Jet by Marco. It is a large commercial style filter coffee maker designed to brew up to 6 litres of filter coffee at any one time. So let's get into the different features and who this machine is for. So the Jet is designed to brew up to 6 litres at any one time, which is about 30 cups of coffee. It's absolutely perfect for those settings where you need a large amount of coffee that can be dispensed really quickly. So it's a great option at a hotel breakfast, for example, where you need a large amount of coffee that people can help themselves to, or at an event or run by a catering company. Brewing with the Jet is really simple. You get 3 programming options out of the box that you can design and tweak yourself. So you can create up to 3 different brew recipes, which you can get started at just the tap of a button. So once you've brewed your coffee, you can either put the mug on the drip tray and dispense freshly brewed filter coffee down into the cup below. But if you want to keep the Jet back of house, then you can brew your coffee and then immediately remove the urn, place it on the stand that comes with it, and then lock it into place with a dial underneath. And then you can pick up the urn and take that to wherever coffee is needed, and you can dispense it there right on site or have the customers serve the coffee themselves. And this will also let you brew more than 6 litres of coffee at any one time. So once you've brewed your first batch and you've got 6 litres of coffee ready to serve, you can put that customer facing and then have another urn already brewing and ready to serve once that batch is finished. So to get started brewing, you first need to turn on the Jet with a little switch just down below on the left-hand side. And you'll see the screen flick on, and then the brewer will take a few minutes just to get up to temperature. You can adjust the brewing temperature as well inside the menu settings. So currently I've got it set at 94, which is a good temperature for medium and light roast coffees. You can also see up here on the top of the brewer this interesting design feature. What this actually does is let the water recirculate at the top of the brewer before it dispenses down into the shower screen. And that's making sure that it reaches and stays at the correct temperature that you've set in the menu. So you get really nice consistent brew temperature and delicious coffee just as you dialed in that first time. So you've got your brew basket down below, and this is designed to hold enough coffee for 6 litres of filter coffee at any one time, hence the really large filter papers. You've got a bit of a cage inside the basket, which is going to help lock your filter paper into place so it doesn't collapse in on itself during the brew and you don't get any grounds stuck in the urn down below. To get your filter into the basket, you're going to remove that top part of the cage, push your filter down and making sure it's locked into the edges of the basket. Flip back the top of the cage, making sure the filter paper is out of its way. And after a bit of fiddling, your filter paper will be locked into place and ready to brew. Towards the top of the Jet, we've also got a little dispensing nozzle here and a button, and that will just let you pour hot water readily available into a cup down below. Just make sure you're careful as you will get a few drips towards the end there. So in terms of brew recipes, out of the box, you'll get 3 different recipes that are programmed in. The top one will be breakfast, you'll have lunchtime and afternoon, and they're just corresponding to different volumes of coffee. You can program these completely individually by yourself. If you just hold down on the button for a few seconds, that will take you to a quick menu screen. So you can change the name for yourself. I've set mine to Bridge. You can adjust the volume of water as well. So I've got 4 litres going. You can set the time for your brew as well. I'm going to leave that at 7 minutes 30. And you can also set a dilution percentage as well, which will help you add a little bit of bypass water if the filter coffee is too strong in the urn down below. Once you've programmed in your 3 brew recipes, you've also got access to a couple of other things in the menu. So just hold down on where it says ready. And after a few seconds, that will take you to a few more settings. You can adjust the temperature of the machine. Currently, I've got mine set at 94. That's a pretty good all-round temperature for medium and light roast coffees. You can also check out the stats of your machine at the bottom to see how many brews you've completed and how much energy it's used and water it's consumed. And then finally, you can also adjust the mode. So currently I'm set to manual because I'm just using the brewer by itself and I want to be able to adjust those recipes. But the machine also comes as part of a system with its own dedicated grinder as well. And if you wanted to purchase that, you could put the machine in grinder mode and you can set the amount of time that the grinder should be running for each of your brew recipes. But instead, I'm just going to use the brewer by itself, so I'll leave it in manual. And at the top right of the screen, you've got a clock and a live readout of your temperature as well. So let's brew a batch of coffee with the jet. Firstly, I'm going to unlock the lid on top of the urn so that the coffee can flow down into the urn below. I'm going to make sure it lines up with the bottom of the basket as well. I'm going to remove my basket. I've already got the filter in place. What I'm going to recommend is a recipe of 4 liters using 227 grams of coffee. Now you can invest in the grinder as well that comes with the jet, or something else completely like an EK43. Or if you just want to have the option of getting something that is easy to use, quick and repeatable for your staff, then I would recommend buying pre-ground bags of filter coffee like our single origin Brew from our wholesale range. This is 227 grams in one bag. So all you need to remember is to use 1 bag for 4 liters of brew water. It's much easier than having to remember the kind of ratio that you want to go for. So I'm going to pour my ground coffee into the basket. Then I'm going to make sure to level out the bed of grounds to get a nice even and full extraction. And then just lock that back into place. And then on the screen, I'm just going to start my 4-liter brew recipe. And it's just going to walk you through removing the basket and adding your coffee grounds. And then it's going to get started brewing. So the jet is now going to push all of that 4 liters of water through the bed of coffee down below. It's going to recirculate that water towards the top of the brewer to make sure we're getting a nice, even and consistent temperature. And instead of one continuous pour, it's going to pulse the water slowly a few times. That'll make sure we're saturating the bed as fully as we can and not spilling over the sides of the basket. One final thing to mention is that you can't remove the basket whilst it's brewing unless you turn the machine off. That is just a fail-safe mechanism to make sure you're not spilling hot water and coffee over yourself. On the urn, you've got a water fill line where you can see the coffee inside the urn. That will give you some sense of how full the urn is getting during brewing, but also how much coffee you've got left whilst it's being served. And finally, on the screen down below, once the batch has finished, it will give you a live readout of how long it's been since that initial batch finished. So already I can see that this batch has been sitting for 3 minutes. Now Marco do say that the urn is going to keep that coffee hot for up to 6 hours, but that timer will just give you some indication of how fresh the coffee is, but that will reset when you do your next batch. So the brewer has told me that it's finished, so I'm going to add the lid back, and then I can absolutely start pouring some filter coffee for my customers. Or as we mentioned, we can then remove the urn, placing it back on top of the stand, and then lock it into place by turning the dial underneath. And then you can take the urn to wherever the customers are. You can serve the coffee for them, or you can have them serve it themselves. So that is just a quick demonstration of the Jet by Marco. The brewer comes in various iterations. So there's a single version with 2.8 or 5 kilowatt power models, and that will start at around £2,200. And then there's also a twin model as well, which is essentially the same machine, but with 2 baskets for brewing either side, where you can brew 2 urns at once. That starts at around £3,100. And then to buy additional urns for your brewer, that's around £480 each. So if you want to learn more about the Jet by Marco or any of our other filter coffee options, then hit the first link down in the description that will take you to our website. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I'll see you in the next video.